where I all got started in this world of water, and that was, like most of us, in my mother's belly, in a sack of water in my mother's belly. Many of us, we forget about this. We forget we were actually, for many months, in a bag of water, a sack of water. And so thank you, mothers, for all your blessings of bringing us through and carrying us in your belly, in your bag of water. This is where I started and we all started. So the second part of me, the world of water, was I was always playing in water. I grew up out in nature. I was blessed to grow up out in the country, and I live by a river called Elk River. This river was close to feeding into the ocean, and there was a particular stream that I always loved going and playing in this stream that fed into Elk River. I would spend hours and days by myself down there, just playing with all the little creatures in the water, and I was just so content, just being by the water, in the water, playing in nature. I also, when I'd come home, which I was usually muddy and wet, my mother would always say, "How do you get so muddy and wet?" And it's because that's how I had fun. And so I would get in a bath, and that evening, and I always was fascinated by the vortex. As the water went out of the bathtub, it would create a vortex and spin down the drain. This was fascinating to me because I'd stay in the tub until all the water drained out. And my mom would always ask, "Why are you sitting in the tub waiting?" I said, "Because I like playing with the vortex." Ah, okay. Then at a young age, I started commercially fishing with my father. This was in the area of the Pacific Northwest. So we did what you call gill netting. That moved on to going to Alaska when I was 14. And then it wasn't long. Over the years, many different fisheries that I did. At the age of 26, I was spending roughly 10 months of the year out on the ocean. And right around the age 26, 27, I became a captain of a 175-foot ship. We were fishing for a variety of crab in Alaska, in the Bering Sea. And all those years, I didn't realize it, but I was spiritually connecting to water. I was growing this connection with water on a level that I wasn't aware of. So for the majority of my life, I really took water for granted. There was so much water all around me. I took it for granted. And I think this happens to many of us. Myself, I basically drank very little water growing up. It was usually juice, pop, milk, things along this line. My parents never taught me the importance of drinking water. And so, and again, it's having such a vast, abundant supply all around me and being in the ocean and seeing all this water, I just really, I took a lot of it for granted. Until the age of around 26, 27. When my life took quite a big turn. I went through a divorce, and I was having quite a challenging time, and my two elder shaman women came up into my life, a grandmother Falling Leaves and a grandmother Celia Nelson. They didn't know one another, but they became a great inspiration for me to realize there was a whole nother world going on that I never knew about, and that there was so much more to life than what I had been taught by my parents or by society. At this point, I was dating a woman named Sheila, and Sheila brought home one day a video, and this video talked about a device called the Grandeur. It's a Grandeur water technology from a man named Johann Grandeur in Austria. This is when my water world started turning around in a very, very phenomenal way. That's what started. I watched this video. I was very inspired to see how this little system, this little water filtration device, could do so much to water. So much changes were taking place. And I was inspired to buy one and cut it in half, look inside, how does this work? It really kind of sparked something in me that's like, wow. Right at the same time, Grandmother Falling Leaves brought me an article. It was put together by the Washington Free Press. It was statistics done by the federal government. And what this article stated was that between 1992 and 96, there was approximately 1 billion pounds of toxins dumped into our rivers, our lakes, our bays, our streams. This was nationwide across the United States. And 1.5 billion pounds dumped down our drains. And the public was pretty much left in the dark about all of this happening. And I believe back at that time, very little was really being done to the corporations who were being, on some levels, being allowed to do this, allowing these toxins to go down into the rivers, into the streams. And Washington State, where I lived, ranked #1 amongst all the 50 states. This is where my water world really began. This inspired me that I knew a part of me, I want to do something about this.